We will now have a musical reading, and the lyrics on the right-hand side of your bulletin. A few words about this song by Natalie Merchant and the band 10,000 Maniacs. The really observant and good memories. No, please turn it off. Just turn it to. Thank you. The technology always gets better, and we're always one step behind. I am anyway. This particular piece of music we played last August when Eve and I did a service here. And I'm sure many of you remember that date and remember the song. It's actually was done 20 years ago, which makes me feel older by the day. But the particular power of this piece of music transcends its particular day and age, I think. So as you listen to it and you look at the lyrics on the right-hand side of the bulletin, think about what emotional feeling it brings to you, because that's really where its power is at. Now, Andy, when you heard that song, it probably, at least for some of you, raised a sense of joy. I think of Tom, though, and his father.
Starting FaceTime with Grady Long.
Could you turn that off, please? Thank you. The more gadgets we try to put together, the more things can possibly go wrong. That's what I've learned for the last 5 years. But for Tom and his father, or any of you who are going through times of difficulty in your lives right now, you might think, well, this song is a little bit idealistic. So for a moment of quiet time, what I'd say is, even during these hard times that you might be going through or remember, there might have been one thing amid all those unhappy moments that was a shaft of light lighting your way in a dark time. It could be something as simple as the smile of a child. It could be a burst of hope that you were just feeling better. It could be any number of things. But it's the beginning of healing when we begin to feel the sense of joy in our lives again, even in the midst of darkness. So let's take a moment of quiet so you can reflect on that just a bit. Of when you're going through the hard times, where does joy begin? Where does renewal begin? Where does hope begin? And we've all had it in our lives. See if you can bring that forth in memory. And then I'll ring the bell. Well, Monica, thank you for your music. And Inga, thank you for your wonderful singing. And John, thank you for the announcements and welcome. And Andy, thank you for doing a really special job. This is one of the hardest tasks there is in any congregation, and thank you very much for doing it. It's always an adventure for everyone, even Jay. Well, I leave for a couple of weeks of training and a visit to Texas, which is big. And what happens? I come back and you've got a new minister. With cheers from everyone and much appreciation for the hard work of the search committee. Is anyone from the search committee here today? Raise your hand. Thank you again. Now, oh, sure, why not? Who's here from the transition team? All right, well, thank you, too. Now, of course, you realize that if we said who's not here from the search committee and who's not here from the transition team, then we could really have some fun. But we're not going there. So I used Natalie Merchant's song, These Are Days, last August when Eve Stevens and I did a service together. The title of that service is, What Happens Next? And it was about what your search committee would do and the second year of transition and what we hoped would happen next. I, in that service, noted the unstated but hoped-for qualities of the minister then, and I think I'll share them again now. You probably all remember them, but it's always good to remember these things. The perfect minister preaches exactly 15 minutes. He or she works from 8 a.m. until midnight and is also a janitor. They make $50 a week, wear good clothes, buy good books, drive a good car, and they give about $50 a week to the poor. She is 28 years old and has preached for 30 years. He has a burning desire to work with teenagers and spends all of his time with senior citizens. The perfect minister smiles all the time with a straight face because she has a sense of humor that keeps her dedicated. He makes 15 calls daily on congregation families, shut-ins, and hospitalized, and is always in his office when needed. Now, Terry has some of those qualities. I have a few as well, and so did Cynthia, your first minister. None of us have all of them, even though congregations for generations have hoped to find the perfect minister. Ain't gonna happen. We're not perfect any more than congregations are perfect, even this one. Now, I realize that with a new minister now just called to serve you, it might be tempting to say, well, Alex, you're a has-been, washed up, a short timer, a fully stirred pot that's eaten. With cheerful expectations of the chocolate farewell party on Sunday, June 10th, which, if we do it right, will last long enough until Aaron gets back Sunday evening and can take part. It might be tempting to think of the next 6 weeks or so as one long goodbye with a steadily dwindling Sunday service attendance until June 10th with the above said chocolate party. Afraid not. There are a few more things to do. One obvious thing is that we need to start preparing to welcome Terry here as your new minister and to get ready for your long-term relationship with her. I'll say it again, long-term relationship with her. So that's my first point this morning. Many of you here have become accustomed to a short-term, limited ministry. I've been here for 2 years, then gone. In some ways, it feels breathtakingly short, and in other ways, it just feels like I've been here forever. Now it's going to change. Most of you, or many of you, were not here when Cynthia was appointed as your extension minister about 14 so years ago. She was called to be your minister a couple of years later. A 12-year ministry, as was Cynthia's, is a long ministry now in American religious traditions. Most are 6 to 8 years. Some go longer, many go shorter. It depends on the patience and the fit of the congregation and the minister. But returning to long-term ministry means that you're going to be in a long-term relationship rather than the short shotgun marriage that you've had for 2 years. You're probably going to find a few things true about this longer-term marriage of ministry. 1, Terry will not be Alex, just as Alex was not Cynthia. She probably will not respond to emails within minutes or seconds, day or night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But she will probably respond to your pastoral care concerns and emergencies far better than I ever could. She will always be thinking and showing the long view of the years and work and even decades of your shared ministry together in the future. 2, the pace of change will be gentler than in interim ministry. Terry and I talked on Friday for about an hour and a half, and yes, she is concerned about things that need to move forward. One of them, the future of religious education and your children. Another, the fluidity of Sunday morning services and how we're trying to shape a good combination for the time on Sunday morning that works best for everyone, including RE teachers. She knows that she'll need assistance and guidance for tech support and full use of web applications for worship services of all kinds. Nonetheless, you are going to have a more leisurely walk together at the Botanical Gardens instead of a 100-yard dash through interim ministry as fast as we can go. It will make a big difference. Second point I'd make is that there's going to be a time of getting used to new ministry and minister and different Sunday experiences, and that just comes with the territory. That means that everyone needs to be patient and ask this question over and over and over as many times as you need to. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, what's he going to say here? It's very simple. Have I remembered to wear my name tag today so that Reverend Terry and everyone who doesn't know me will remember my name? Anybody remember the slogan from Cheers, the TV show? What was it? Knows your name. Yes. It's a lovely idea, and fellowship is community, and learning each other's name is an important part of adapting to change, because every Sunday you have someone new or someone who hasn't been around for a while. Name tags are good. We learn names because we want to know them for a while. We want to know them for a long time. So that's number 2. Number 3 is ministers come and go, but the congregation in many ways lasts forever. The memorial garden that you folks started is going to last ages, and it's beautiful. This sanctuary, this building, the campus outside is going to shape and alter and move as time goes on. The bicycle stands that Ted has put out, he's put out one, is going to be another, to its shaping and becoming, evolving and changing over the years. That will go on. This congregation will be in partnership with a minister, hopefully 50 years from now, when probably most of us will be gone. The fellowship and a minister will work to teach children and elders 70 years from now, and they will continue to work to heal the world. The name of the minister and the population of the fellowship will be less important than their agreed upon work together, their partnership, and their marriage of shared compassion. When you think about it, our great-grandparents, whomever they were, and you probably know who your great-grandparents were, they could not have imagined who we are right now. They wouldn't have imagined the challenges that every single one of us face now. But what our great-grandparents did, whoever they were, was they became parents. They hoped for the best for their children and their grandchildren and beyond. And what they really knew was all they could do was release the seeds into the wind. And they would go on without them. So now you and Terry will become the parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents of those people who will be here in 2020, 2050, and 2100. Parenting takes patience and getting used to changes. That starts now, and you've really been doing it for years. You've done it for many years. You know how to do it. From now, though, it's going to be slower and more thoughtful in your new partnership with a called minister. Fourth point. Go back to Natalie Merchant's song. The lyrics go, "These are days. These are the days you might fill with laughter until you break. These days you might feel a shaft of light make its way across your face, and when you do, you'll know how it was meant to be. Whenever I've heard this song over the years, I've felt it to be an anthem of blessing and legacy. Blessings are as simple as a shaft of light across your face after a dark time in your life. We've all had it. Some of us are having it now, and we'll probably all have it in the future. Blessings are as wonderful as when you find yourself filled with laughter that begins to refresh and renew your heart and spirit, sometimes when you least expect it. Blessings tell us of the positive in our lives, even when times are tough. And when I got here 2 years ago, I knew you were blessed because you were sticking together. Times were hard, but you were hanging in there. That's a blessing. Now you're blessed again in this return of May, where a new spring has arrived and a new minister has come to your door. The other twin of blessing is legacy, how it was meant to be. And that's when we start giving the blessings back to each other in perpetuity. One legacy that I wanted to give, and there will be others in coming weeks, was that antique scroll for the youth group. I've really grown really fond of them, and the children, and the young adults, and really everyone here, but especially them. They deserve a special blessing because the world that they will inherit is a far more uncertain world, and even dangerous world, and an unknown world than we ever imagined at their ages. We have to be mindful of that. As I showed you, the scroll, and it's a very common tradition in Asian art, the scroll shows a very small traveler crossing a bridge, and somewhere up a hill is a tavern or an inn or a place of shelter. And then above all is nature. It's a very common theme, as I said before. And we could think of that traveler as us, but we could think of that traveler as a child, or our children, or our youth group, or our descendants. We're the ones that built the bridge, and so did our ancestors. We're the ones that built the buildings, but so did our ancestors. We're the ones who have helped to create a place where they can find respite and comfort and renewal on their journey of life. And our ancestors did that for us too. That was our task, and that is our heritage. That is our legacy that we're going to pass on. That place of a comfortable, safe place in a journey to restore yourself, a bridge to be able to cross so that we may understand wisdom. Another legacy that I'm going to try to leave behind is a relational covenant that's going to be in the newsletter shortly. And we're going to have discussion groups the next 2 Sundays after the service that I'd like you to bring a copy of the relational covenant document with you, and we'll meet after church in the library. So anyone who wants to come in and talk, we'll talk about it. The transition team, the board, various covenant groups, and others have worked with me to put it together. It's got a lot of words, a lot of guidelines. It has to, because it speaks to our human passions. And we are all passionate in this place. It'll also be a legacy in some form that I hope to leave with you. It'll also hopefully be a blessing for when times get tough and get confused, as I can guarantee they will. Now, of course, the Asian scroll and the relational covenant are just stories. That's really what they are, the stories of our life's journey and how we manage to keep on the road and we keep together. Mine here is going to end soon, and it's going to go on to the next place, wherever it may be. But yours is going to continue in this place. That scroll, hopefully, will still be upstairs. And each week, somehow, mysteriously, you're going to be reminded of these words from Natalie Merchant. You are blessed and lucky. And it's true that you're touched by something that will grow and bloom in you. No matter what the season, whether it's May or December or seasons of harvest or whatever, it doesn't matter. That there will be something every week that will grow and blossom in you. You won't say it with quite those words, but their meaning will bloom in you every week, because those words, or the words like them, are a blessing and a legacy. And I think we probably ought to end with those words. And you really do know them. Let's see how well you remember them. I'll start. Love is a spirit. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another. So may it be so in all the weeks, years, and generations to come. And if anyone can do it, I know it's you. Peace, amen, shalom, blessed be, namaste. Now, let's sing. We may not sing quite as well. Very thirsty for spirit. And all too often we just get words. It's the gentle stories that we share that heal. Love and service. That's the ticket. May it be so. Peace, amen. Shalom. Blessed be.